to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. 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 Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Why is that showing? I don't have that up. Oh, my God. There's no sound coming through. Still. Why is that showing? Oh, wait, no. Get back here. Channel. Live. Okay, let me see. No. No, I have no idea what's happening today. Am I live? Yes. Oh, here we go. Let's try it. No. What is happening?
Claire's a 25-year-old first-time home buyer.
What is happening today? Oh, here's this live watching. Can you? Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, here's this live watching. Can you guys hear me?
Okay.
Oh, here's this live watching. Can you guys hear me? Oh, here's this live watching.
Dum, da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. Okay, I see what's happening now. Okay, my prayer is that you guys can hear me. That's my prayer. I know it sounds a little scratchy right now. Let me confirm. Hi, Sweet Carmel. Can you hear me now? I know you just said it, but can you let me know if you could hear me again? I had to go out and come back in. I know. I had to cut the feed. The sound wasn't coming on. So can you let me know if you can hear me now? I think you can. Yes. Okay, I'm going to try one more thing, Sweet Carmel, because I had a video that I wanted to play. And I just want to see why the video didn't take the last time. So I'm going to try the video. And I just want to see why the video didn't take the last time. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Dun, da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. Okay. Oh, ciao. All right. I think I'm working it out, the little kinks. Something happened last week when I put the video on, and you all couldn't hear anything that I said. So there's just a lot of crazy stuff that is happening. Last week was a part of Mercury retrograde, so I just chucked it off to that. Hopefully it won't happen this week, but I'll monitor the progress. All right, guys? And Sweet Carmel, thank you so much. And I believe you can still hear me. Let me just check. Okay. Okay. It's good so far. So I had this whole spiel coming in, And I just want everyone to know that I honor that you all let me come into your lives, that you all let me be a psychic, that you all let me be not just a vlogger, but someone that really, really talks to spirits about celebrity drama, but also talks to spirits in your personal outcome reading. Now, I do call myself a psychic, but I am more than that, right? I communicate with the spiritual world. And I love that about me. I just had to find my way around the word psychic, right? Which is fine. However, if you want a personal reading with me, contact me at 213-458-7408. 213-458-7408. Text me now. That's an offshoot of Miss Cleo's Call Me Now. And I tried, oh, you know what? Guys, hold on a second. I think I'm getting ticks in my house. I don't know what this little thing is, but it ain't staying with me. Hold on a second. Got my bug spray. One thing about the Caribbean, you always have to carry bug spray. Die, bitch. I don't know what this is. This is my second spring here, and it's too close to me, and it looks like a tick. So we don't do ticks. Mm-mm. Nope. You go meet your maker right now, tick boy. Tick, tick, tick insect. Sorry, guys. I don't live this way. I will not live with a tick under no circumstances. Life is too short, and ticks try to shorten your life. Not happening. But I'm kind of, oh, wait, I've got to do something specific. I'm kind of like, see, I can't talk to my landlord because I don't know what these things are. Oh my God, I don't want to be scared of ticks. I'm in the Caribbean, so, you never know what you're going to get in the Caribbean. I was not born and raised here. So everything is foreign to me. I'm sorry, guys. I just went into a panic. At least I'm not afraid anymore. You should have seen when I first got here last year. I was screaming at every unknown. There's never anybody to help me or to tell me it's okay, Tracy. It's okay. I just had to learn to be okay with the geckos that just walk in my house. Good morning, Tracy. Get the fuck out, geckos, or whatever they are. I think they're lizards. So text me for your own personal reading, 213-458-7408. The readings are on FaceTime. They're on Zoom. Of course, they can be on regular phone. That's obvious. But, we've upgraded and elevated. I also want to tell you that horoscopes are up. Horoscopes are up. Horoscopes are up. Regular horoscopes are up, and love horoscopes are up. So take a look at them for your sign and let me know what I could do to improve on the love horoscopes. Let me know your feelings because I'm feeling uncomfortable. So it doesn't mean that the readings are off. It just means I'm worried if I'm coming across effectively. But that's always going to be a worry of mine. With love horoscopes, love used to be my expertise. But when I do the horoscopes, it doesn't feel right. So you let me know. Like, no, Tracy, it was correct. It was accurate. You ain't got no let me know any details. Just let me know. Yeah, it was good. Also, I just uploaded a video on Lisa Marie Presley, and this one is an almost predicted it. Almost predicted it. Why is it I almost predicted it, Tracy? Because I'm so close. I was so close. I felt like Lisa Marie was drinking. Turns out she was on opioids. Again, she was on opioids and weight loss pills because she was trying to get ready for the Grammys or the award show, whatever she had attended recently. What the hell? She was thin. All right, I don't have time for this. And I said that her mother, Carilla, was supposed to go and take over the estate. Turns out she was supposed to. Somehow or another, Lisa took her off. Or as Carilla would say, it wasn't Lisa because the signatures don't match. I do have some concerns, Carilla. Oh, wait, what's her name? Priscilla. I have some concern, Priscilla, that you were estranged from your daughter and you're about to be estranged from your granddaughter. She's the sole person responsible for this estate. Why would you do that? That little girl needs help. She doesn't have a mother now. So she needs you to help her, not to fight her like you may have been fighting with your own daughter. Did you guys know they couldn't even come together to promote the movie Elvis? There were so many events they were supposed to do together. They couldn't do it. They did one event together. That was it. In any case, it almost predicted it. All right. So if you want a reading with me, there it is, right there in the feed. All right. And I do have openings for today. All right. Let's get started with Conversations from God. I do pray to God that I am getting across what I need to get across to you all. I'm a little surprised that this book is written in an elevated description of God's word. I'm a little surprised, but should I be surprised? The Bible is not clear, right? Jesus talked in parables. Nobody understood the parables, right? I mean, the Pharisees was like, what the hell? What the hell is he talking about? You know, and I get it, right? If Jesus would have talked in anything other than rhythm and rhyme and parables, you know, that cross would have came a lot sooner, right? But this way, the Pharisees would go back to the boardroom and they would be like, I need to understand what he is trying to tell us. And it was all trickery and smoke and mirrors, right? Jesus was just buying time, right? We know that, right? But I'm a little surprised that this book coming from God, again, is a little elevated in its understanding. And personally, God, like, can I talk to you for a minute? I'm tired of this, right? Like, I'm amongst the peoples and I want to be one with you, God. I do. Like, can we, and you and I, can we get there, right? I would hate to think that I would get to heaven and you still talk like that. I would be like, oh, please. All right. If I don't understand, do I not get through the pearly gates, God? So here's what I'm trying to say, God. You know, I feel like the world that we're in right now is the test, right? You know that, right? We've talked about this. Here is the test. I don't want you to make it difficult. So the next person that writes a book and says it's the word of God, it just came from God, like, make it simple. Please, God, make it simple. I'm trying to understand a book, and you guys don't know, I pray before I get to this book. I pray for understanding. I pray to decipher everything that is coming through, and I pray for examples, right? But I don't understand why it's written this way. And the other thing I noticed about this book is that it's never ending. It just keeps flowing and flowing and flowing. And I can't find the end point before something else begins. It just constantly flows. I don't appreciate that either. I need a pause. I need a paraphrase from the author's point of view. And then I need to continue on again. I don't really care if this book had 133,000 chapters. I think the way it's put together is very Bible Jesus-like, right? And we are not back at Jesus' birth the way everybody used to talk, right? So bear with me as I try to interpret the language in this book. All right, guys? So let's get started. I don't have my highlighter here. I'm so pissed right now. Why am I like discombobulated? Oh, here it is. Let's get this party started. Hi, Ori Naturals. Good health and happy weekend. Oh, thank you. Happy weekend. All right, page 23. It begins with, all right. The one thing that all that is knew is that there was nothing else. The one thing that all that is knew is that there was nothing else. And so it could and would never know itself from a reference point outside of itself. Such a point did not exist. Only one reference point existed, and that was a single place within the is not is, the am not am. Still, the all of everything choose to know itself exponentially. This energy, this pure, unseen, unheard, unobserved, and therefore unknown by anyone else energy, choose to experience itself as the utter magnificence it was. In order to do so, it realized it would have to use a reference point within. It reasoned quite correctly that any portion of itself would necessarily have to be less than the whole, and that if it thus simply divided itself in portions, each portion being less than the whole, could look back on the rest of itself and see magnificence. And so all that is divided in itself, becoming, in one glorious moment, that which is this, and that which is that. For the first time, this and that existed quite apart from each other, and still both existed simultaneously, as did all that was neither. Hold on a second. Sorry, guys. I just cleaned up my front porch because they've got the maintenance people here. Just let me text somebody real quick. What is this? Oh, forgot to text someone. Oops. Sorry, guys. And by the way, I'm not understanding at all what I am saying here. Good morning. Hold on, guys. All right. I think I should go back to page 22. Let me see if I can go back. I'm going back to page 22, guys. You lost me again, it says on page 22, your experience of yourself. Yes, God says. Let me explain it to you this way. In the beginning, that which is all there was, and there was nothing else. Yet, all that is could not know itself, because all that is all there was, and there was nothing. And so, all that is was not. For in the absence of something else, all that is is not. You know what's funny about all that is? Ugh, I hate when God constantly talks to me, but ironically, the Nickelodeon show, I can't find my highlighter now. Found it, then I lost it. I am all over the place today, guys. I'm so sorry. My son's Nickelodeon show was called All That. So sometimes there's a messaging in everything. And it keeps going over and over and over. All that, all that. So I will decipher. I just lost my pencil. What all of this means. Let me just highlight it in red then. I found the pencil, then I lost the pencil. Okay, let me just highlight it in red. Okay. This is the great is not is to which mystics have referred from the beginning of time. Now, all that is knew it was all there was, but this was not enough, for it could only know its utter magnificence conceptually, not experientially. Yet the experience of itself is that for which it longed, for it wanted to know what it felt like to be so magnificent. Still, this was impossible, because the very term magnificent is a relative term. All that is could not know what it felt like to be magnificent unless that which is not shown up. In the absence of that which is not, that which is not. Do you understand? No. But I think I do. So, I think I understand. So bear with me, guys. All that is showed up. And yet all that is didn't know that it was the best thing ever created, right? By God. And so God had to give all that is more to go on, to continuously understand how beautiful it was, I believe. Now, all that is came from nothing. And nothing remains if all that is doesn't have something else to complement it. This is what I'm thinking. So if I were to put it in layman terms, and you guys please help me out. If you get it differently, educate me, right? I need help, right? So the way I'm getting this is sometimes you get people out in the world that are beautiful, physically beautiful, internally beautiful, right? And if someone doesn't say to that person, remember, the beauty just showed up, right? Beauty, you are beautiful. This person is beautiful. But if you just show up beautiful, if you just show up smart, if you just show up internally kind and generous and beautiful, that is what it is. But what if no one ever told you? It doesn't mean that you change any less. It means, do you become magnificent more than when something else shows up to then say to you, you are beautiful. I need you to be a part of my life because you have shown up this way, right? So let me put it in different terms, right? When you have plants that you bring into your house, you can bring plants in your house and they may or may not survive. But what if you brought plants in your house and you gave it a name and you talk to it and you say, I love you, plant, which I really do. I have this plant here that's starting to get diseased again. Oh my God, it's starting, but okay, baby, we'll work it out, right? We'll figure out why you're getting diseased again. It's all right. But what if I brought in the plant and I didn't talk to it, but it came in magnificent and I didn't talk to it? it would begin to be like, why am I here? I'm here to be a part of something. But if I'm just here to be here, yeah, I could flourish, but I need something, right? So flowers might need bees, right? Grass might need the rain. Do you see what I mean? So something has to come along to create the magnificence of the thing that God has created to be here. That's what I think I'm getting from this. Tell me if I'm wrong. Help me. All right. All that is could not know what it felt like to be magnificent unless that which is not shown up. In the absence of that which is not shown up, that which is not. So, if something else doesn't show up to complement you, your life, your being, your soul, do you know that you're really of greatness? Because you may not be able to understand the difference. And a lot of children are raised under this impression, right? Especially Black children, right? You know, just from slavery alone, we're afraid to tell our Black children, you are gorgeous. Look at them hips, girl. Them boobs is growing. We're afraid to tell our children that because in slavery time, as our children developed, they became more attractive to the others, to the clear people. And then we would say, get in here, girl, cover up, girl, do this, girl. And as we progress, it was like, you better put on that prayer skirt. Don't be walking that way, right? There was a thing in Beyonce's Dubai, right? As an example of development. So here, Ivy is developing. She sees her mom as a sexual being. She has to. Vibrant, beautiful, sexual, OSHUN looking woman, right? In terms of like the colors. Beyonce happened to have on OSHUN's colors. And Ivy's developing. And can you imagine Ivy being the mom of a Beyonce and looking at her videos and saying to herself one day, I'm going to be exactly like that. If not better, right? We all expect Ivy to be better because we expect our children to be much better than us. That's mandated, right? And so she brings her on stage and Ivy starts to do this little thing like a little kid should do. Ivy threw that hip out. And when she threw that hip out, that hand went swinging. And something else was coming through Ivy. And Beyonce noticed it. And Beyonce was like, oh, shit. Grabbed her hair, right? And Ivy noticed the motherly and kind of looked at her like, hey, mom. And then she touched her in the back. And then you could see where Ivy was like, oh, shit, where did I go wrong? What happened, right? I say that to say, now why did I say that? Do you understand? All that is could not felt magnificent, which is not shown up. Right, which is not shown up. Right. And so in our development of our children, sometimes we have to not tell them how beautiful they are, how sexy they're becoming. Beyonce and Ivy was in a whole nother country. That the influence of sexuality is limited. Which, of course, Ivy didn't understand. And clearly, you know, Beyonce didn't have the opportunity to tell her daughter. But when she saw it, she was like, oh, pull that in now. And thank God, between mother and child and discipline, she got it. Right? So leaving that aside, our jobs is to constantly tell our children. We do it better with boys. Oh, you're getting strong. Oh, you're looking at those muscles. Oh, you'll be able to be this type of person when you grow up. Oh, look how we don't always do it with our girls. But how do they know who they are unless something else is shown for them to understand the beauty that they encapsulate inside themselves? And that's what I believe in paraphrasing what this phrase means. All right. Do you understand? Neil goes, I think so. Keep going. All right. The one thing that all that is knew is that there was nothing else. And so it could and would never show itself from a reference point outside of itself, because such a point did not exist. Only one reference point existed, and that was the single place within. The is not is, the am not am. Still, the all of everything choose to know itself exponentially. This energy, this pure, unseen, unheard, unobserved, and therefore unknown by anyone else energy, choose to experience itself as the utter magnificent it was. In order to do this, it realized it would have to use a reference point from within. Okay, now that's really important. So, do you ever get to your point in your adult life where you have to say to yourself, because maybe nobody ever said it before, where you have to say to yourself, damn, I'm pretty. If no one ever said it to you, did anyone have that experience where you have to say to yourself, I'm pretty? After you put on a beautiful dress, after you do this, that, and the third, after you wash your face and see how flawless your skin is, do you have to wait for someone to show up for you, to say to you that you're pretty? Or do you have to get it from a point of knowing, a point of within, a point of, I'm just going to compliment myself today because today that is what I deserve from me. I deserve to like me today. So I'm going to go with all that I know. And I'm going to decide today that I am pretty. Ah, there you go. I do that every so often, says Sweet Carmel. And sometimes it sneaks up on you. Isn't that a funny thing when you say it like that? It's like, oh my God, I'm pretty. Is the way I heard you say it, right? Oh my God, I look pretty today, right? And I congratulate you. Even if it sneaks up on you, I'll take that. Because, by the way, nothing sneaks up on you. Spirit is taking today to open you up to say, okay, now we can get in. Look at yourself. You look pretty. And then you go, let me check myself in the mirror. Oh, that looks good. This looks good. Exactly. I know, sweetie. I think I know because we've all had those moments as women, right? As ordinary women, we've all that have those moments, right? Most of us are not born beautiful, right? Most of us are average at best. At best, we're average. But what makes you so cute? You know what makes you cute? The fact that you know it within. And that's when you get those other girls, right? That's when you get those mean girls. It's like, oh, she thinks she's cute. No, sweetie, I don't think I'm cute. I know it because I've worked on myself. And I don't care what kind of names you want to call me. You can't take away what I know. That's on God. But it takes practice to get there, right? It doesn't happen overnight if you have had not enough influence about the all that is, or the all that is not, the am not am, or is not is, wasn't put inside of you. But look at the miraculous of God and how somewhere in a field of nothingness, you are there for yourself and to remind yourself You are the best that God has created. So it's time to look at yourself differently. I mean, I can't imagine all the flowers out in the world competing against one another. Well, I'm beautiful, well, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful. No, I think all of them get their beauty from within. I'm beautiful because I popped through. I popped through the tree, I popped through the ground. I'm beautiful because I see the light. I'm illuminated. All right. The energy, this pure, unseen, unheard, unobserved, and therefore unknown by anyone else energy, choose to experience itself as the utter magnificent it was. In order to do this, it would have to realize a reference point from within. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. It reasoned quite correctly that any portion of itself would necessarily have to be less than the whole, and that it does simply divide itself into portions, each portion being less than the whole, could look back on the rest of itself and see magnificence. Let's go over that again. And when I go over something again, I don't understand it. It reasoned quite correctly that any portion of itself would necessarily have to be less than the whole, and that if it thus simply divided itself into proportion, each portion being less than a whole could look back on the rest of itself and see magnificence. Okay, I think I get it. I think so. It's kind of like the flower reference, right? That every flower that grows comes from a particular seed, right? But then they start to break off, right? If they break off, are they any less? No. You could look back on the rest of itself and see that every single flower is magnificent. Okay, I'm going to play a video. Please let me know if you guys cannot hear me. Please let me know. And so all that is divided in itself, becoming in one glorious moment that which is this and that which is that. For the first time, this and that existed quite apart from one another, and still both existed simultaneously, as did all that was neither. Right? So all that is divided, becoming one glorious moment, that which is this and that which is that. For the first time, this and that existed quite apart from each other, and still both existed simultaneously, as did that was neither. Thus, three elements suddenly existed: that which is here, that which is there, and that which is neither here nor there, but which must exist for here and there to exist. It is nothing which holds that everything. It is the nothing which holds the everything. It is the non-space which holds the space. It is the all which holds the parts. Can you understand this? Are you following this? No, God. This is Tracey speaking. I'm not getting this. I think I am, actually, says Neil. Believe it or not, you have used such a clear illustration that I think I'm actually understanding this. Well, I'm not, Neil. I'm going to go further. Now, this nothing which holds the everything is what some people call God. Yet, that is not accurate either, for it suggests that there is something God is not, namely, everything that is not nothing. But I am all things seen and unseen. So, this description of me as the great unseen, the no thing, or the space between, an essentially Eastern mystical definition of God, is no more accurate than the essentially Western practical description of God as all that is seen. Those who believe that God is all that is and all that is not are those whose understanding is correct. All right. But I am all things seen and unseen. So this description of me is the great unseen, the no thing, or the space between, an essentially Eastern mystical definition of God, is no more accurate than the essentially Western practical description of God as all that is seen. Those who believe that God is all that and all that is not are those whose understanding is correct. Now, in creating that which is here and that which is there, God made it possible for God to know itself. In the moment of this great explosion from within, God created relativity, the greatest gift God ever gave to itself. Thus, the relationship is the greatest gift God ever gave to you, a point to be discussed in later detail. For the no thing thus sprang the everything, a spiritual event entirely consistent incidentally with what scientists call the Big Bang Theory. As the elements of race forth, time was created, for a thing was first here, then it was there, and then the period it took to get from here to there was measurable. Just as the parts of itself which are seen begin to define themselves relative to each other, so too did the parts which are unseen. God knew that for love to exist and to know itself as pure love, its exact opposite had to exist as well. All right, let's stop there for a moment, right? Because that's one of my questions overall in life, right? God knew that for love to exist and to know itself as pure love, its exact opposite had to exist, which is why the snake was brought in to the relationship of Adam and Eve. But remember, guys, Adam ate the apple, only meant she. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sticking to it. In the beginning of time, there's no way Eve took that apple. No way. Mm-mm. And this was the first affair, by the way. So, God knew that for love to exist and to know itself as pure love, its exact opposite had to exist as well. So, God voluntarily created the great polarity, the absolute opposite of love. Everything that love is not, what is now called fear. In the moment fear existed, love could exist as a thing that could be experienced. Huh. All right. All right. I think I'm getting it. It is this creation of duality between love and its opposite, which humans refer to their various mythology, mythologies as the birth of evil, the fall of Adam, the rebellion of Satan, and so forth. See, even he said the fall of Adam. See, it was never Eve. I mean, you just go with me. It's just me. All right. Just as you have chosen to personify pure love as the character you call God, so you have chosen to personify abject fear as the character you call the devil. Very interesting, because I love this part, because I never call out the devil as an actual being. So I try not to use devil. Every once in a while you hear me slipping, because in Black vernacular we love to call out the devil. I don't use devil in my vernacular. What I do say is evil, this, that, and the third, right? Because evil is an element. Evil is fear. Evil is the thing that grips us into fear. Say it's the devil, to be honest with you, when you call out the devil, you trust the devil more than you trust God. But when you call out evil, readily your mind knows God will handle evil easily. But when you call out the devil, you've made him rise above God, and you immediately believe that God can't handle that big bad dude. And so you no longer trust God like you think you do. Come on now. Help me out here, God. Some on earth have established rather elaborate mythologies around this event, complete with scenarios of battles and war and angelic soldiers and devilish warriors and the forces of good and evil, of light and dark. This mythology has been mankind's early attempt to understand and tell others in a way they could understand a cosmic occurrence of which the human soul is deeply aware, but of which the mind can barely conceive. In rendering the universe as divided version of itself, God produced from pure energy all that exists, both seen and unseen. In other words, not only was the physical universe thus created, but the metaphysical universe as well. Oh, this is the first time metaphysical is showing up parallel to God. No one I know ever puts them together. Metaphysical people don't want to put God in the equation, and religious people don't want to put metaphysical. This is the first time I've seen it put together as it should be. Because I tell people all the time, I am metaphysical. I believe in universal law. I believe in anything metaphysical that falls under that umbrella. And that could be yoga, that could be Reiki, that could be crystals. But Jesus is my ascending master. I believe in God. And nobody can take this from me. That's what I tell everybody. Y'all need to stop it. You're doing the devil's work. Okay. All right. But you can't stop me from believing in God. See the difference? Call me out your face, whatever you want. But how I believe, you can no longer take that from me to make me like you. So, here in the book, it's the first time I've seen it pulled together. very, very nicely. In rendering the universe as a divided version of itself, God produced from pure energy all that exists, both seen and unseen. In other words, not only the physical universe thus created, but the metaphysical universe as well. The part of God which forms the second half of the am equation also exploded into an infinite number of smaller units in the world. These energy units you would call spirits. All right, now we're getting good. Getting to my world now. You guys need me to go over that again? It's really good, this part. I'm getting it. Is anybody else confused? I'm going to go over it. The mythology has been mankind's early attempt to understand and tell others in a way they could understand a cosmic occurrence of which the human soul is deeply aware, but of which the mind can barely conceive. In rendering the universe as a divided version of itself, God produced from pure energy all that exists, both seen and unseen. In other words, not only was the physical universe thus created, but the metaphysical universe as well. The part of God which forms the second half of the am equation also exploded into an infinite number of units smaller than the world. These energies, units, you would call spirits. Yes, spirits. Love it. In some of your religious mythologies, it is stated that God the Father had many spirit children. This parallel to the human experience of life multiplying itself seems to be the only way the masses could be made to hold in reality the idea of the sudden appearance, the sudden existence of countless spirits in the kingdom of heaven. In this instant, your mythical tales and stories are not so far from the ultimate reality. For the endless spirits comprising the totality of me are, in a cosmic sense, my offspring. My divine purpose in dividing me was to create sufficient parts of me so that I could know myself exponentially. There is only one way for the creator to know itself exponentially as the creator, and that is to create. And so I gave to each of the countless parts of me, to all of my spirit children, the same power to create which I have as the whole. Are you guys lost? Is everybody okay? Don't be afraid to speak up or tell me to do something over again. Okay? Let me go back over that again because this is important. In some of your religious mythologies, it is stated that God the Father had many spirit children. I actually never heard that phrase. This parallel to the human experience of life multiplying itself seems to be the only way the masses could be made to hold in reality the idea of the sudden appearance, the sudden existence, the countless spirits in the kingdom of heaven. In this instance, your mythical tales and stories are not so far from the ultimate reality, which we kind of knew that, right? There is something about, certain type of movies that we see and we're like, there's so much truth in that. Like, we love certain types of movies because we see the truth in that, right? And so God says, of the countless spirits. In this instance, the mystical tales and stories are not so far from reality. I love that. There's so many movies that I see and I'm like, that is so true. That's a true thing. All right. I can't think of a good movie, but for right now. God will show me something in a week, and I'll come back next week and I'll be like, this is the movie where I believe that this existed. For the endless spirits compromising the totality of me in a cosmic sense are my offspring. My divine purpose in dividing me was to create sufficient parts of me so I could know myself exponentially. There is only one way for the creator to know itself exponentially as the creator, and that is to create. And so I gave to each of the countless parts of me to all of my spirit children. I gave to them the same power to create, which I have as the whole. Now that's really interesting, this little part, because we had someone in group tell us a story. And when she told us the story, you could tell, as she was telling the story, some of us could tell. We were like nodding our heads and we were like, oh dear, she had an experience. And you're waiting to get to the end of the story to see how the experience was handled. And at some point at the end of the story, toward the end of the story, she realized that she had power. And I meant to tell her this, so unfortunately I'm telling you all before I tell her. She realized she had power at some point. And the power that she used was to say, it's time to go. Now. And that was the magic in her. And I meant to point this out to her because it was a great thing that she exercised this power. And it went. It acknowledged that a command was given. And the command had to be honored. She was dead serious. So imagine if we could take that same command and bring it in. The same strength, the same power, the same intonation, and call in everything that you want. Because if God is divided amongst itself as the whole and the totality of the Creator God power, then God is in you. And you can command anything that you want. And we should try it with little things, right? And I'll give you a perfect example because I'm always like good for examples. So forgive me because I'm having an experience in the basement of my window here, but it's hilarious, right? So there are these trumpet flowers that I love. They're called trumpets. I think they're called trumpets. They look like trumpets. I love them, right? And I was on a ride with a guy out here in the Caribbean. Guys are kind of weird and they don't take you out. But I understand now why they don't take you out. They don't take you out because everybody knows everybody except me. I know no one. So when they go out with somebody new, then all eyes are on that person. I get it. I don't understand it, nor do I like it. But the commonplace when someone takes me out is to take me on a ride, to see the beaches, or to, Jesus Christ, it's only 28 miles. So I've had enough of looking coast to coast on a ride. That's my problem. In any case, I was on one of the rides with this guy, and he pointed out these purple trumpets, flowers, and they're purplish, lilacish, kind of see-through, and I fucking fell in love with them. Turns out that there are other colors, but I love the purple ones, right? And so I said to God, I was like, I want to see the purple trumpets, flowers again, but I don't want to call him to say, take me to the purple trumpet flowers, right? So I just put it out there to God, because with God, you never know what that means. So I can't direct God. I can't say, I want to go back to that place. I can only put it out there generally and not pray. Like, I truly do get that God is hearing me, right? And so all I said was, I want to see the trumpets again, meaning purple trumpets, right? So there are two directions to walk from where I live. And when I leave my apartment complex, I always go right, always. I'm a creature of habit. You'll never see me go left. For whatever reason, I changed up my direction. And I mean, after months, I've been here 12, 15 months. After months, I go left one day. And what do I fucking see but my purple trumpet flowers? And I was like, oh, this is hilarious. One, they were always there for me. The purple trumpets didn't jump up and leave and plant itself for me. They were always there. It was important for me to venture out and open my eyes. See what I wanted was always available to me. Thus is God, where he said, go left, Tracey. What you want is left. Now, why did I bring that up? Let's see, God. Sometimes I forget. All right. My divine purpose dividing me was to create sufficient parts of me so I could know myself exponentially. There's only one way for the creator to know itself exponentially as the creator, and that is to create. And so I gave to each of the countless parts of me, to all of my spirit children, the same power to create, which I have as the whole. Okay, so now I know why I got there. I got there because I was telling about one of my group mates that had an experience when she empowered herself to say, time to go. And I just want to remind you all that the same, and it left, right? But I want to say, to remind you all, use that power to bring the things that you want to experience in your life. In the same token, however, in the same breath, this same person, based upon a question that one of the other group mates, Priestess Ifasheye, in the beginning of the year, it was really odd how this question was influential. And I can't remember the question anymore, but it had something to do with, okay, I'm going to paraphrase. It had something to do with, if money was not a concern, where or what would you be? Money is not a concern. Money's not the problem. Where or what would you or where would you be? Something like that, right? And it brought out people's wishes and desires. And it was like, wow. And this particular person started something based upon that question, which forced the element of her wishes and desires. So then she gets to her wish and desired situation and place, and then something shows up, and then she's like, something comes through, and it made her a little concerned, and she was like, in her mind, she was like, please leave. She gave power to something that was uncomfortable for her, and she said, leave. And it complied. That's power. Let's take that same power and not only get rid of the things that make us feel uncomfortable, which was the right thing for her. It was the right thing for her and her spirit in that moment. But also, let's use that energy to bring in, to command in. Oh yeah. That was the question, Ori Naturals. If nothing was a consideration, who would you be? It was a very powerful questioning group. Very powerful. That I think, we should bring up again, right? Who would you be if if nothing was a consideration? Maybe we need to bring it up in the group feed, Ori Naturals. And maybe talk about herbs that will bring some influential spiritual presence, right? Like drinking that magic potion that could create that within inside you, right? What do you think? Okay, think on it. Okay, we're there. Oh my God. And so I bring the flowers into it because of the power and the intention that you already have inside yourself, right? The power and the intention you already have inside yourself is when I said to God, I love the purple trumpets and I want to see them again. In my mind, I thought I only could go back to the location where he had taken me, right? But I didn't ask God specifically. I just said, I need to see the purple trumpets again. And I left it until God one day said, go left. And I debated. I was like, ugh, but I timed it this way. And if I go left here, I add a minute or two. And I was like, oh, fine, I'll just go left. Boom. Purple trumpets coming off a tree. Now, get this. I love the purple trumpets. My dad played the trumpet, so I love trumpets, period, right? Guess what is coming from the grass? These things are supposed to be coming off of trees. Guess what is coming from the grass that I look at every single day? Yellow trumpets. Every day. Until the lizards come and eat the goddamn yellow trumpets. But then, you know what I realized? They can eat the trumpets because the trumpets grow back. I mean, man, God is so beautiful when he divides itself and shows up still as a whole piece in the middle of all these beautiful little yellow trumpets or flowers, this time yellow. And I feel like this was the gift. Not that I asked for it, because I didn't even know that there were yellow trumpets. I didn't ask for it, but I felt like God was like, you want trumpets, child? I'm going to put trumpets right at your front door. It's not a problem. And it's so pretty. And I'll take a picture for you guys to see it next week, but I'm going to have to take the picture today before the lizards come, because they're huge lizards. You have no idea. Right in my front, I get hit lizards with these big old bodies. They look like fucking alligators, actually. Nice as you could tell. They're nice, though. And they just jump, 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 and eat all the all the flowers in my face. Meanwhile, I'm going, stop eating the flowers and grow. But the flowers are for them to eat. They're not for me to just luxuriate and look at. So, if nothing was a consideration, who would you be? Does anybody want to answer that? I would be okay if anybody wanted to answer that. Your thoughts is the parent which gives birth to all things. If nothing was a consideration, who would you be? I like that. It really changed something inside the group when this question was asked. I know it changed something inside of me. And I'm watching others participate in some personal changes, right? All right. If you want to answer it, go for it. I'd love to hear what that looks like for you. And the other thing is, don't worry about being embarrassed about what your answer is. We're all trying to get there, metaphysically there, right? We don't know what metaphysically there is, or how right it is, or how good it feels, or, you know, am I saying the right thing by wanting a certain thing? You're probably saying the best that you could say with the resources that you have in front of you today. You can say it better later as you learn and grow more spiritually, metaphysically every day. That's the good part about the metaphysical world. There's forgiveness for development. For coming in as is, there's forgiveness. For coming in as you are, there's forgiveness for making mistakes. There's forgiveness for not understanding. Nobody's going to blame you because you're not spiritually evolved. That's not us. You know what we like? We like the fact that you showed up and we're like, hey, I'm still learning, right? So you can't be embarrassed when I'm still learning. None of us are going to get there any faster. And you might have more of something that I have that I could take from. I might have more of something that you could take from, you know. But however way you show up, the gift is showing up. That's what I like. I've locked myself into the role of parent, grandparent, and caregiver so tightly that I feel like I had to untwist those to even consider something different. Hmm. And then she says, sweet calm mouth says, that thought actually made me go blank. Well, it's no longer a thought once you wrote it out, sweetie. The thought stays inside. Once you wrote it out, it became a whole concept now to consider. And by typing it out, the reason why you went blank is fear. When the whole objectivity of life is love. So when you locked yourself into the role of parent or grandparent or caregiver, you forgot you in the process. And you locked yourself so tightly, she says, that I feel like I have to untwist those to even consider something different. Let's start untwisting all of that. Because none of what you are in your identity of parent, grandparent, and caregiver means anything if you aren't present and loving yourself. So all those that you're giving unto others, which now I'm thinking about it, this is what we talked about in yesterday's show. Put the tea on Fridays with the priestess. Did you see that yesterday's show, Sweets Carmel, about Ifasheye saying that loving yourself is the most important thing, and she talked about rose as a tea. It's not just self-care. It's a little bit more than self-care. But you're on it, right? It's not just self-care is the thing we do to keep it consistent, self-care. But to acknowledge that I matter. I come first. You rotten kids. I love my grandkids. I come first. And I decide whether or not being a caregiver is the most healthiest thing for me. Because if it's not healthy for me, I'm going to hire somebody that wants to do this for a living and then I will oversee the caregiver. See the difference? I'm not caregiving my parents because I know how strong my parents are, right? And I know and remember my upbringing. And I'm not going to take the end of days to have them go back into their infantile mentality and say and do things that's going to compromise my spirit. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hire somebody to be a caregiver. And I will have conversations with the mom or dad and the caregiver, and I will decide how to work best in any way moving forward. As far as being a grandparent, I love being a grandparent, but I also love saying no. Hey, Dory. Yes, yes. Hey, sweetie. Ezra, he's been calling for you. Oh, how much I love Ezra. And he wants to come see you. Oh, no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. I'm not even home. I'm right at home in bed, snugged away in my pajamas. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. No. Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. You know, the last time Ezra was over, he was a lot. Yeah, we talked about this, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Did you talk to him about being a lot with Grandma? I did. Good, good, good. Okay. Today's still not a good day. Next time, sweetie. I love you. Bye. And I know the phone is being hung up with all kinds of fuck this and fuck that and fuck her and I'm okay with that. Does it mean sometimes that there might be a delay in visits with Ezra? Yeah. hmm hmm I'm okay with that. But when I said no, I mean it. I am not the grandmother that my grandmama was. I do not wear flowery print mocks waiting for children to show up to take advantage of me. No mas. But you got to have the stomach for it, right, sweet Carmel? Because the minute you say no to people who's used to you saying yes to, oh, they're going to show their whole ass. In any case, how do we get there? Thank you, Lisa Stanford. Loving oneself is the reason why and how, it's very true, we can love someone else. That's true. But it's not always easy to love oneself if it was never given to you personally. So sometimes we think loving everyone their way, however selfish their way is, we think that's love. The whole thing. All right. Where are we? Okay, I want to be careful because remember I told you this book never ends, and I'm about to go into a whole nother topic here. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to stop here because this book doesn't give me pause. And I want to be able to start fresh next week, but I keep finding it's running on week to week. So I have to decide the pause. So let me just go over the last part again. In this instant, your mythical tales and stories are not so far from your ultimate reality. For the endless spirits compromising the totality of me, in a cosmic sense, my offspring they are. My divine purpose is dividing me. My divine purpose in dividing me was to create sufficient parts of me so that I could know myself exponentially. So listen to God saying, before there was you, I had to get to know me. My divine purpose in dividing me, right? Remember the whole pie? And then he separated the pie, right? And the separation of the pie could mean creating India, creating Africa, creating, what do you call that thing? The magic garden, Garden of Eden, right? 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 So it looks to you and I, it looks like the Garden of Eden was the thing. But what if it wasn't the thing? What if Africa was always there? What if India was, what if Asia was always there? You get it? Okay. My point to you is, what is my point? Let's see. In the instance, your mythical tales and stories not far from the end of spirits compromise the totality of me. So when we look at the pie and God separated this pie, he cut this pie up, he cut the whole of himself up. It's not because he was becoming different in the whole of himself. He was the same in the whole of himself in parts. So that's why we have stopped. Okay, let me put the book down. I'm starting to get excited. That's why we have to stop getting upset because you're a Muslim or you're Christian or you're Christian but not Catholic or you're Scientologist. Like, we have got to stop being upset with the whole of God. God is all those things. Buddha. The separate parts of God was to get us to understand that as a separate component, there is God, not separate from one another. God is in the totality of the pie. My divine purpose in dividing me was to create sufficient parts of me so that I could know me exponentially. I mean, can you see the flaws that God is trying to correct in himself? So when you're flawed, you're God trying to correct a part of yourself that even God had a conversation with himself about. There is only one way for the creator to know itself exponentially as the creator, and that is to create. And so I give each of these countless parts of me to all of my spirit children the same power to create which I have as the whole. So, how do you get to know yourself? How do you get to love yourself? So I'm only going to talk to Sweet Carmel right now, right? So making your children is a part of you and God's relationship. But now those children have children. But where are you, Sweet Carmel? So does something special needs to come out of you? I know we talked about this before, so I know you want to open up a YouTube channel where you can review cards. Like, can we just do that? So you can find the God within you, the metaphysical person that God has allowed metaphysicality to be a thing, that it can show up in tangent with religion or that version of God. Can every side of you be merged, and can every side of you be God? Can we just start living in fear? There's only two components in life, love and fear. Can we stop living in fear? Can we just learn to love ourselves as is, the way we show up, flaws and all? Because when you begin to create inside of yourself the way God was forced to even look at himself, if God can look at himself and separate himself so that the totality goes into countless spirits and angel children to be derived from God himself to be love, we are allowed to be like God. So you can create more than your children. Right? Hope I explained that well. All right. My divine purpose in dividing me was to create sufficient parts of me so that I could know myself exponentially. There is only one way for the creator to know itself exponentially as the creator, and that is to create. That is to create. That is to create. I'm talking to you, any of yous. And so I gave to each of the countless parts of me. Now I'm talking about your soul. To all of my spirit children, all parts of my spirit and my soul. Many personalities going on inside of all of us. The same power to create. God wants you to create, which I have as the whole. All right. I hope I helped, guys. You know me. If you understood how much I thank God that I am doing the right thing for him, if you guys understood that fear that lives inside of me, that am I doing the right thing for you in your eyes, God? I'll get my answer later. I'm not going to get it today. I'll get it later, someday. And when I mean later, God doesn't have to talk to me tomorrow. God might talk to me in 10 years. And I still have to understand and know that my steps are being ordered to speak the way I want to. How I do it, I'm given permission to speak on his behalf. All right, guys. As always, I hope I helped. All right, I will see you next week. Don't forget, if you need a reading with me, I do have openings today. Let me see now. Okay, I have openings today. 213-458-7408. Text me now. They are on FaceTime. They are on Zoom. And of course, if you prefer phone, it's all good. All right. Horoscopes are up. Regular horoscopes for February. Love horoscopes for February. Let me just see what's going on. You're welcome, sweet Carmel. And almost predicted it on Lisa Perez-Lee. And I got a few more predicted it. I don't know if I did the one on Nene Leakes yet, but I'll get that done. And Eric Girardi's husband, who went into the state asylum and thought he was going to dodge the bullet, acting crazy. Oh, I can't remember anything. Well, he got indicted, which I always knew he would. But I'll get that video together for you guys. I love you. I thank you. And at least with Conversations with God, I will see you next week, but stay with me all week as we dissect celebrity drama. And I'm just going to end with this hashtag Fire Robin from Real Housewives of Potomac. I love you guys. Good night. Oh, goodbye. Oh my God.
Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live.